Wow. That highlights a lot of what we need to focus on, doesn't it? In closing, our last award, but not least, goes to a dear friend and leader in the San Diego community and the country, frankly. I'll read his bio. Guillermo Diaz Jr. is a transformative global business leader and champion of diversity, equity, and inclusion. He most recently served as the chairman of the Hispanic Technology Council, the premier executive leadership organization of senior business and technology executives who have and are building outstanding careers in technology. Diaz is the founder and CEO of Conectado Inc., an innovative Web3 AI digital platform with the mission to accelerate access to opportunities for those that are underrepresented. He serves on the board of directors of Blue Shield of California and Jack in the Box. Also social impact boards for the Cristo Rey High School work-study program, Empower, supporting veterans and young adults, and the Stanford Latino Entrepreneurship Initiative. Previously, he was a transformational, innovative leader at Cisco Systems and the technology industry, where he developed a strong track record of accelerating results through people, process, and technology. Guillermo served as Cisco's Global Chief Information Officer and was responsible for the IT organization, strategy, and services. Guillermo began his career in technology with the U.S. Navy, where he received a military scholarship that led to his Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration from Regis University in Colorado. He went on to hold technology leadership positions with some of Silicon Valley's most respected companies, including Silicon Graphics, Ingram Micro, and Alta Corporation. Please join me in congratulating Guillermo Diaz with the Role Model Award.
Wow, hearing those stories, I almost feel like I don't know what to say. It's like hearing your story, hearing the stories. It's just, it's humbling. But it's also why Danny and I, probably almost more than a year ago, said, we're going to do an event in San Diego. And we're going to bring the veterans together. And we're going to use, which is my superpower, technology, to be able to hopefully bring those veterans together. We're going to use the stories and the narrative, because I didn't do what you did. And I almost feel like I should have. But at the same time, it's, in my way, as you have described, role model, hopefully that along the way, when I was, I have 3 women in my life that have changed my life. My abuelita, when I was growing up, she said, someone's going to change the world. Why not you? Why not you? So those words stuck in my head. And then when it came time for me to make a decision, which I know there are young men here, or a young man here, trying to make a decision, where I had to make a decision because I didn't have money to go to university. So I decided I was going to go to the military to get money to go and get that degree, because that's what I knew I needed to do. Because nobody in my family had a degree. Not that I needed to be the first, but I needed to be able to show that there is a path. There is a way forward. And so when my mom and I were deciding on whether I should go to the Air Force or to the Navy, she asked me, well, what did the Navy say? Well, I said, well, there's a technology job and telecommunications and networking. I don't know what that is, electronics. Well, what did the Air Force say? Well, there's a jet engine mechanic job that that you could do there. And she said, you're going to the Navy. Okay. And I said, in my head, I was thinking Top Gun. I wanted to go, and I wanted to fly planes and this and that. But I had two things. I didn't have a degree, and my glasses were about that thick. So there was no way I was going to do that. So she said, you're going to the Navy. And I said, no, I'm going to the Air Force. And she said, over my dead body, are you going to the Air Force? And that's when you just you don't fight that battle anymore. So luckily went to the Navy, and on this very ground, why this day is so important to me is if you walk outside, I walked in those hallways on this very ground when I was 18 years old. And so this is why it's so important to show this next generation that. And then the third is my wife who's here, that has been my anchor, my rock these years. And for those of you that were here earlier, you got a chance to see my son. You got a chance to see my son tell you his story about how he overcame obstacles, how he showed how he's a role model, and he's a veteran. And my wife lifting up both of our sons who are Navy veterans and telling them, it's like, hey, your dad didn't do so bad, so maybe you should go to the Navy too. And so now my son he's a sales executive at Cisco Systems. And my other son, he's a IT leader in Honeywell Communications. And my daughter, she's in IT. And my other son, he's in the UK at the University of Liverpool. So that lady didn't do too bad. Right? So all this to say is, and I'm looking at some of these young men, it's like, someone's going to do it. Why not you? Why not you? And why not us? So hopefully with this, event, Danny, this is a catalyst for more things to come so that we can connect people like you, and people like you, and people like me, people like Ephraim, people like Corey, people like, the folks that were in the room today, people like you, that is just like, you just portrays this leadership character that I'm just so glad to know. And so, Danny, we need more of this, right? We need all of you. We need to stick together, and I'm just so thankful that you've had me here. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for all of our awardees. The one thing that you're going to find is, whether it's Jeffrey or Guillermo or Carlos or Libby, all of those stories are stories of perseverance, of resilience, of strength, of hope, of courage. There's one thing that I know more than anything else, is that the stories of these Latino veterans who have worn the cloth of our country, is that whether they did it to be able to get out of poverty, whether they did it to serve their country, whether they did it because of the uniforms, whatever it is, I can tell you that Latinos take a backseat to no one in the defense of liberty. There is one thing that I want you to leave this place with in your minds and in your hearts. We need to support our veterans. When you see a veteran, thank a veteran, hug a veteran, hire a veteran. Do business with a veteran. There is no greater calling that we have as a nation to make sure that we fulfill our solemn duty to honor and support those who have worn our nation's cloth, served, sacrificed, bled, and died to protect our freedoms. That's the least we can do. We can all be doing more. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for supporting our veterans. And thank you for continuing to support the American Latino Veterans Association. We're going to be doing more here on the West Coast. We've done stuff on the East Coast, but we're going to grow our community. We're going to grow our network. We're going to grow our organization, because at the end of the day, everyone needs to thank, applaud, and support the Latino veterans who have served throughout our nation's history. Thank you all so very much. Please take home food that's left over. Pack yourselves a plate like all of our abuelitos would do. And thank you again so very much. I invite you to support ALVA. Go to our website, alvavets.org, and make sure that you support each other. Thank you all so very much. God bless. Que Dios lo bendiga.